Why, good morning, everybody who's watching season 2, episode 59. That's today's story from Grandma Day. So I had a young viewer who asked me a question about my name. So let me explain. So my last name is Amade, and I was trying to figure out what my name would be when I found out that my oldest son was having a baby. Well, his wife was. So I was like, Grandma, I didn't want to be Grandma and Amade and Grandma. And then I was like, Grandma Day. Now, here's the weird thing. I go by a lot of names. All my kids call me Mom. So I could also say Mom reads stories. I could also say my family would call me Treese because it's a nickname for Teresa, which is my name. So I could say Teresa reads stories. I could also say Treese reads stories. I could also say my husband, right? He might call me Honey. I could say Honey reads stories. And some people know me as Auntie Teresa. And I could say Auntie Teresa reads stories. They're all true. All my students in school call me Mrs. Amade. And all the people I work with usually call me Amade. So I can go by all those names. Basically, I'm reading stories, no matter who you are. And if you're here, it's because I love you. All right. So this one, we're still trying to knock off the Bears Bedtime Storybook. Now, nothing is happening. No, there's no danger. This is just a background that will back up part of the story. So you'll see in a minute. But I'm reading this one, the Bears Bedtime Storybook, page 128 and 129. Here we go. And I'm wearing this because I'm going to go work out and I get sweaty. So there you go. This one's called Mr. Grumps. One day, Tiny Ted saw Mr. Grumps building a fence round his garden. What's that for? He asked. To keep you young bears out, said Mr. Grumps. The next day, Mr. Grumps was driving along in his truck when he saw Tiny Ted and his mother at the bus stop. They waved to him and he stopped. Could you give us a lift to the fair? Asked Ted. I suppose so, said Mr. Grumps. He looked very grumpy as they set off, but Tiny Ted and his mother were smiling happily. They hadn't gone very far when Tiny Ted said, Look, they're Biffy and Bimbo. Can they come too? I suppose so, grumbled Mr. Grumps, and in climbed Biffy and Bimbo. They hadn't gone much farther when Tiny Ted said, Oh, look, they're Betty and Barbara and Bertie. Can they come too? I suppose so, grumbled Mr. Grumps, and in climbed Betty and Barbara and Bertie. They hadn't gone much further when Tiny Ted said, Oh, look, they're Bernard and Brenda and Binky. Can they come too? I suppose so, grumbled Mr. Grumps, and in climbed Bernard and Brenda and Binky. When they reached the fair, out climbed Tiny Ted and his mother, and Biffy and Bimbo, and Betty and Barbara, and Bertie and Bernard, and Brenda and Binky. I guess in Britain they don't use commas. They called out, Thank you, and ran off to the fair. Aren't you coming too, Mr. Grumps? Asked Tiny Ted. I suppose so, grumbled Mr. Grumps. Mr. Grumps really enjoyed himself at the fair. He even offered the bears a ride home afterwards. The next day, Mr. Grumps was at work on his fence. What are you doing? Asked Tiny Ted. I'm pulling down my fence and I'm going to burn it. He made a huge bonfire and asked all the bears in the neighborhood to come to it. Tiny Ted and his mother and Biffy and Bimbo and Betty and Barbara and Bertie and Bernard and Brenda and Binky and many other bears came along. Again, you could use a comma, several commas. It was great fun. Are you enjoying yourself? Asked Tiny Ted's mother. I suppose so, smiled Mr. Grumps. They also don't put any periods after Mr. and Mrs. Like, look right here. Oh, you can't see it. See? No periods. So strange. The end. Love ya.